This is a beat up old wreath that I bought at a thrift store. I don't know what it was used for before, but immediately I thought Easter eggs. These are nuts and peacock feathers, and it looks like old acorns, maybe some seashells and different odd natural things. To me, they look like Easter eggs, and that all these little nuts need to be painted bright colors, and then they need daffodils and duckies and all kinds of Eastery stuff. So that's what I'm going to turn this particular wreath into. And I'm going to get started on it today. I just put up St. Patrick's Day decorations, and Easter is April 1st this year, so I gotta hurry. I never actually considered myself to be a crafter, ever. I guess I've always been crafty, because if I needed something, I would just make it. So I guess I've been a crafter. I just didn't know. Now I'm an intentional crafter, because I run a daycare, and I want to have fun, exciting holiday things for them. And in turn, I have fun, exciting holiday things for me. So I have a lot of paint because I have considered myself a painter. Not a crafter, but a painter. So I have a lot of old paint, and I'm going to use up some of my bright, springy colors. And then I'm going to throw those bottles away, and I'm going to buy new paint. Sometimes the color just catches my eye. I love color, and I buy it. I could mix my own paint colors, but sometimes, like I said, they just grab me. And I like this really bright spring green. It makes me immediately think of spring and Easter. So I'm going to just spread that color throughout this wreath, and then I will get another color and do the same thing. And I'm going to try to be patient enough to paint all my eggs before I start gluing on flowers and butterflies and things. I am not a patient person, but I'm trying to learn. How about that one right there? There's a stick. This is a very natural wreath. It's really nice. And I got it for like, I'm thinking 79 cents or something. I didn't believe the price. I got an old Christmas one and an old Halloween one and this one for less than $3, which is amazing. You can't buy the wreath form for that. With the other two, I'll pretty much take them apart and redo them, but this one had these cool egg-looking things, so I'm going to keep this one intact. What I've really had a hard time is finding something I can store my wreaths in, because I made a decision this year to do a different wreath for every holiday, starting with New Year's, and I did, and then February, Valentine's, and I did. And because it's a short season between Valentine's and St. Patrick's, I immediately put up St. Patrick's after Valentine's. Then there's only a few days between St. Patrick's Day and Easter this year. So I got to get these things rolling. Now after Easter, things slow way down in the holiday department. But I do plan to do one for just spring and summer in general, and a really patriotic one for July 4th. And then of course I'll do fall, I'll do Halloween, and then I'll do Thanksgiving, and then of course Christmas. And this all started because I got married 7 years ago, and my extremely organized house and garage got turned into a free-for-all by my husband, who is a, I don't know, junk collector. He doesn't finish things. He starts a lot of things, and he doesn't finish them. Like to wash one load of laundry, which I've just taught him to do in the past year because last year I had a broken leg, and trying to get into the laundry room to wash his clothes, I had to ask his help because I couldn't carry the laundry basket from one end of the house to the other on crutches or in my wheelchair. So then I decided, you know what? You're retired. You should wash your own clothes. So it takes him 4 to 5 days to completely wash one load of clothes and another 2 or 3 to get them out of the laundry room. But I've made my peace with that. I just let him do that. And, you know, everybody has their own drummer that they march to. And our drummers are at different speeds and have different priorities. A lot of his priorities. I care about this stuff, and he doesn't. But it all started because he was in charge of packing away my Christmas decorations, of which I have many. This is the smallest house I've lived in since I was in my 20s. But it's the house I bought when my children were grown, and this was my empty nest house where I was going to live by myself and raise cats. Well, I had a beautiful wreath that I'd had for about 20 years, and we still haven't found it. So I had to rush around at the last minute, and I refused to pay $100 for a wreath somebody else made. So I was rushing around at the last minute trying to figure out how I was going to make a Christmas wreath. And I always have two. I have one on my side door that's behind me and one on my front door. So instead of going and spending the fortune that it would, and I couldn't find a wreath form I liked at the art stores. So I ended up going to Goodwill and buying an old Christmas wreath and wrapping it with ribbons and doing my own thing. And I was very happy with it. I was not happy that he lost my beautiful one. But we now have an agreement that I am taking charge of all of my holiday decorations and their storage. So I've been trying to find storage containers that will hold my wreaths because they're big. And the regular storage boxes aren't big enough. And I spent quite a bit of time online yesterday trying to find boxes big enough, and then I went to big plastic satchels big enough, and I never found what I was looking for, so I ended up ordering some large heavy-duty plastic bags from the dollar store that they don't have in stock, but they're going to deliver for me, and I'm hoping they will hold my wreaths. I don't want to spend more on the storage container than I spend on my wreaths, because I don't spend a lot of money on them. But that's my process. The holiday decorations, other than the outside ones that are too big, are going to be in the attic where I can go in and out and get them, and they will be totally handled by me. So I will be able to find them. I just really like this green color. I'm maybe doing more green than I would have intended, but who knows what this thing is going to look like when it's done. I do not have a plan. I don't. I have a drawer of things I've bought and collected, and I'm going to just make it up as I go. And I'm not worried about being tacky. If anybody thinks I'm tacky, I don't care. I make myself happy. I make my neighbors happy. My neighbors think I'm a cute little klutzy, eclectic, zitsy, ditzy, hippie type, and they like me. And I just got a Yard of the Month award, and the guy who served the award with me said, "I love your flamingos. My wife won't let me have them." So I like to make my kids happy in my daycare, and I make me happy, and I don't irritate my neighbors, so I'm all good. So if you think I'm tacky, sorry, I don't care. I do think a completely white decorative scheme is gorgeous, and I like so many different styles, but my style is whatever the heck I feel at the moment, and that's what your style should be too. Whatever it is. If it's all white, go all white. All brown, go all brown. Or in my case, explosion of color and different things. Okay, now we have color number 2. Now this color is near and dear to my heart because it is close to the color of my shutters and my front yard decorations, which are eclectic for sure. I do have pink flamingos, but I also have a lot of turquoisey stuff. It's kind of a very southern beachy kind of look, maybe, I guess. But this color is one that grabbed me in the store one day. It's a nice turquoisey color, a good Easter egg color. And I'm going to spread it around a little bit. I squirted out too much, and I hate to waste, but unless I can think of another project to do while this paint is still wet, then I will wash it down the sink. I just, before I started this, went out in the yard and saw a number of my things scattered all over the yard that had been in the front yard before the hurricane. Was that last year? I don't know. But I pulled up my chandelier that was in the garage and fixed it up for a front porch hanging, and painted my bird feeder because my husband said it can't be hung up, it needs painting. So I did it. And now I'm doing this. This is my de-stress. We've had tremendously stressful technology issues. Some of them prompted by the fact that I went cable free recently and got a new internet company that was supposed to be 5 times faster than the internet that I had, but it can't handle me watching Netflix and being on the internet at the same time. So that's frustrating. And I'm trying to do things that do not frustrate me. And now my husband is creeping around in the kitchen right next to me. So all the weird sounds you're going to hear are him not respecting my video time. And he's going out the door. I am very happily married, by the way. I've also been very happily single. I enjoy being single. I enjoy being married. I try to enjoy whatever state I'm in. But I'm not a person who has to be married to be happy. I really enjoy my alone time. But I enjoy having somebody to do everything with. He doesn't really have things he wants to do, but I have things I want to do, and I say, let's go, and he comes. I don't recall him ever saying, no, I don't want to do that. Because if he did, we probably would not be married. And we did just celebrate our 7th wedding anniversary on Valentine's Day. If I had given that some thought, I probably would not have gotten married on Valentine's Day because it's so hard to go out to eat and have a nice dinner on Valentine's Day because everybody's doing it. So everybody celebrates my wedding anniversary, and I usually either plan a trip, or I used to have weddings I'm a wedding officiant too. I used to have weddings every Valentine's Day, and I would use the money I made from doing the wedding to pay for whatever we did, and we would do it wherever we were for the wedding, usually at the beach. And my advertising dropped off. I had an ad in a wedding magazine that I'd had for years, and it's also online. And most of my wedding business came from that ad, but I depended on my ad rep to call me every year to renew it, and she forgot me one year, and because she did that, it was actually because they had a new rep, and because she did that, I lost my good fee that I was paying, which was, I was only paying $200 a year, and it went up to $900 a year because she dropped me. And I said, okay, maybe time for me to get out of the wedding business. If anybody wants me to do a wedding, I'll do it, but I'm not advertising anywhere. So there aren't a whole lot of weddings happening in my life. Okay, I'm pretty much done with that color, so I'll go wash this up. And I'm bad. I use my really pretty little dishes that I also collect from thrift stores, but then I wash them really good so they're not ruined. I make sure I get them all clean, and they will have a nice little piece of cheesecake on them in the real near future. Okay, this is the last paint change I'm going to do before I get to start the fun stuff with the glue gun. I'm going to start with some pale yellow. I'm going to have a lot of yellow because I have daffodils that I'm going to add. A lot of sticks in here. I'm trying not to paint my sticks. These eggs, which are actually nuts, are not exactly all egg shaped, but they're close enough. Gotta have a little imagination. So you're not likely to find a wreath like this, although you might if you look at thrift stores. But you could make your own wreath like this by hot gluing nuts. Or really, you could even get the small plastic Easter eggs and glue them on. But it's your wreath. You can do whatever you want. The nuts are a really good idea, though. I think whoever originally made this had a really cool idea. But I believe this was a like a harvest time wreath in its original capacity. I think that's enough yellow, because now I'm going to pull some of this yellow into this pink and try to do a slightly orangey color. It's looking like a really pretty shade of pink. Okay, here we go. We're getting a little orange. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here. I think that's a walnut. It's pretty bumpy. I'm not a nut expert, so I really don't know what all these nuts are. That one took a lot of paint. And then I'll just put one right here. And right here. Some of these nuts are very smooth and easy to paint. Some of them are not. Okay, and then I'm going to try to get that paint off this brush because I'm lazy, or more impatient than lazy. And then I'm going to try to get some of this pink that I didn't mix the yellow into. I know I have pink and yellow flowers. And I also have butterflies. Okay, and a pink there. Oh, got one over there too. Some people would plan every egg in its color, and that's a wonderful thing to do. I just don't have the patience, and it's not fun for me if I plan it out ahead of time. And today is about de-stressing. I have been kind of ill and went to church this morning at the nursing home to sing, and got so sick on the way there that I could not. And I went in and gave my music to my friends June and Jane, and they took over for me. And I'm still not well, not at all, but I'm trying to be. Oh, see, and I forgot this little guy up here. I don't have enough pure pink, so I'm going to do a slight mixture here. Do not want to leave any eggs unpainted. Okay. And that leaves me with that guy. So, he's a nice smooth one. Well, he's pink, so maybe he's a girl. So, I see a couple touch-ups I need to do. So I need a new brush. And that little guy. So that's that part of it. And that was kind of fun and de-stressing. But now I get to do the fun stuff. This is my wacky chandelier that I just rescued from the garage. It used to hang in that tree right there. And it used to have pots sitting in these little cups. But time and weather kind of rotted the little cups. And so I decided to turn it into a flower basket. And it's right by my front door with my teeny tiny gnome garden and my little tiny fairy garden and my little lazy fairy garden. And that, let's see if you can see that. That's my bird hanging tree. And I got a bird feeder there. And some old furniture from actually when I was a kid. That wrought iron furniture out there is when I was a kid. And that big white monstrosity is my yard of the month sign. Now we're at the part that I call the fun part. But this is what we have so far. And back to the husband and the organization thing. I bought things specifically for my Easter wreath. And dear husband, put them somewhere also with my St. Patrick's stuff I bought ahead. And they are not to be found. I looked in the attic where I had asked him to put them. They are not there, unless he hid them in the Christmas decorations. And I can't find anything in my garage. So I'm going to work with what I have. And if I find my other things, I will probably add those to it, or I'll do a whole new wreath. My intention was to make the Easter wreath. And I had bought a cross that would fit right in here. I still would like to do that. But right now, I'm going to work with what I have. And I think my trusty glue gun is fired up. Glue guns, be careful. They really are hot. There are some peacock feathers here, but they don't really show up. So I'm going to come in here with my trusty glue gun and make a little place. And then I'm going to stick this one very different flower to go into the empty space. She didn't want to go. And I want to make sure she stays year after year. And then I'm going to add, I have a lot of daffodils. So I'm going to add my daffodils. Daffodils to me are like the sign of spring for sure. Daffodil trees and dogwood trees. But I couldn't find dogwood. So I'm working with what I have. And what I did is I bought flowers from the dollar store, where everything's $1, and snipped them off with wire cutters so that they would, I'm going to put a lot in this one place because like I said, this peacock feather doesn't really show up. And I'm going to try to stuff them in as much as I can, but they will only go so far. I use a lot of glue. I was never a glue gun person until I started doing wreaths, and I just love them. Sometimes you can get the flowers to go down in there, and sometimes you can't. Okay, the hot glue got me. Momentary wake-up call. So, I don't want to be terribly, terribly, terribly unbalanced, although I usually am. So I'm going to spread these babies around. Don't want to put all your daffodils in one place. Okay, daffodil, you and me gonna fight. Okay, and blank space here. Oop, I'm out of glue. That's okay, I have more. I had more a minute ago. I still have a couple of my little short ones. Okay. There you go. I'm going to need all of you guys. That one laid just like I wanted it to. That doesn't happen often, so that's exciting. Now we're ready for you. Just want to try to make sure that it's connected. And since this is going on my front door, it has to be connected good enough to withstand any wind. Lots of glue. Sad that I can't put it on my front door like right now when I'm finished, but that gives me time to maybe find the stuff that I bought. And if not, I'll find it a nice resting place until then. Because I don't want to rush my holidays. A lot of times people do rush their holidays or don't even, celebrate them. But that is not me. I am a celebrator. I celebrate anything I possibly can. And if you celebrate when you don't feel like celebrating, for me anyway, it will come to you. And then I have a few, I have one more yellow. When you get down to one, decisions. I really think I'd like a little more right here. Okay, and then I have a few pink, not a lot, because I used them for my chandelier earlier. These tiny glue sticks go fast. And I just want to scatter a little petal here and there. Because there's more after this. Next. My camera has a 10-minute timer. This is evidently a very long video, but my camera has a very long timer. I mean, a very short timer. It cuts off at 10 minutes. I think this butterfly, I also have these butterflies that are the same color. These also came from the dollar store. And then I have birds and dragonflies, so I gotta figure out, I think because I have this bright pink, flower over here where the empty spot was, I'm gonna put the bright pink butterfly to balance that color. Almost spent a long time pulling off spider webs of glue. And there's a tie up here, so I'm using that as my reference point for the top, just because that's the original top. So let's see where we can put this baby. $1 at the dollar store. And it has a clip on the back, but my experience with these clips has not been good. So I'm going to use a clip. I don't want to do it exactly even because it's not that kind of thing. So I think I'm going to put it right up here at the top. And she's not going to be easy for me, is she? She's a very pretty butterfly. And she's moving. Hopefully she is attached. The good thing is, I always have my trusty glue gun. And I can fix her if she's not. I don't want to make her little antennas bend. Okay, so that's that. And I gotta see if I want to add a bird. I have a red bird, which no. I have a yellow bird. I have this cute little guy He looks more like fall. And I have this little green bird. Which one do we think? I'm leaning towards the yellow bird. Also $1 at the dollar store. And he also has a little clip that I will not use. So I'm going to put him right in here. Not quite sure how yet. I'm going to make a mess and see if he'll stick. Ooh, I could attach him. Hold on here. So I have attached him. And hopefully it's not going anywhere. Well, now we're getting close to the end. I decided I wanted to finish this because that's how I roll. So I went to the dollar store to try to replace the cross I had bought for the wreath that my husband lost. And they didn't have any crosses. But I decided also that I would like to have a different ribbon to hang it with. And if I can get this sucker open, I'm going to hang it with a yellow ribbon. And I bought this neat little gadget that I'm going to try to hang in the center. And you know what? It would be good if I could not mess up my butterfly. If I can... Mr. Bird might have to fall off. But it would be good if I could get it here in the center and tie it with the ribbon, which is paper, but it's going to be on my porch, not out in the weather, so it should be okay. And if it's not, I'll replace it. Start with that. So I've got it tied in through the butterfly hanging thingy. I'm going to come around and hopefully come about through there. But then I want to further plant this. Hopefully my glue gun is cranked up. So I'm going to go under here. And then under here. Might need those glasses. And then this is unfortunately going to have to sit on some eggs. you doing there, Birdie? I'll let Birdie hook to it too. And I think I'm finished. I know, it took a long time. Let's see if I can turn her around, because everything's not totally dry. And this will be against my door, so the middle shouldn't spin around. So that is my Easter wreath. Let's see how much it cost. 79 cents plus $1, $2, $3. Let's just say 4 to include. We'll call it $5. So that's my $5 Easter wreath.